The year 2023 has already proven to be astronomical in advancements regarding technology and the power that humans have created. Recent news of Elon Musk and Steve Wozniak and Stability AI having to put AI development on hold due to dangers proves that. Where the issue is in the year 2023 and the shift in power across the globe. Our first world countries are struggling in some of the most financially demanding times we have seen since 2008, with many indicators that it may be going down that route once again, a recession. Please understand that this is not financial advice. We just want to shed the light on this topic and begin to express news stories that the mainstream don't want you to hear. There is an inevitability of certain things in human nature that will occur again. Despite now more than ever, it is seeming possible in such a modern world. And it isn't just any old news. JP Morgan, one of the biggest banks in America, have admitted that by the end of this year, there will be a recession. War. We are seeing Russia begin their onslaught. Something that many people find hard to believe is really happening. Just this week, we have seen the Chinese president announce he is preparing for a war, a 7% plus increase in funding for their army, and outright statements from the Chinese themselves. Simultaneously, Brazil and China have agreed to use their own currencies in national trading, disregarding the US dollar. But this video is about the recession. I hope you are beginning to connect the dots. Where other countries and leaders see that the US dollar is failing, they are beginning to leave it in the dust. The more people that do this, the more people that don't believe in the currency. What is a currency? A currency is something which holds value simply because we, such as a civilization, say it does. What we are seeing unfold is the biggest parties that help the dollar retain its credibility worldwide, backing out a huge swing in the international power of currency. Without a shift in currency, there is no doubt that parties will keep losing their faith in the US dollar and perhaps GBP, meaning that the traditional first world countries could be very well on their way down the international hierarchy. Before we go much further into this video and begin breaking down the indicators of why there is almost definitely going to be a recession in the near future, we need to know what your opinions are on the topic. So let us know down below what you think this recession is going to look like, and if it is going to be worse than that of 2008. We look forward to reading your thoughts. When we think recession, we think unemployment, poor, struggle, something which seems well out of the realms of possibility. For many people in our modern world, unemployment rates may not currently be the biggest topic of conversation at the moment, and of course it is also very taboo. However, something which may accelerate us into the next recession is artificial intelligence. AI is something so advanced, as touched on at the beginning of this video, that the discussion of it replacing jobs sooner than we think needs to be spoken about. We are discovering more and more AI tools that are replacing jobs across the board, and this may be a huge risk to the GDP of all currencies, but more importantly, the ones embracing AI. AI has taken over the creative industry, with tools like Midjourney AI being able to produce absolutely any image of your description in any style. It is more advanced than any human could ever be creative, and tenfold more efficient. We have seen copywriting becomes a task that no longer requires humans, as we can ask the likes of ChatGPT or Japster AI. At the beginning of the year, we saw the first attempt at replacing one of the highest paid and most sought after jobs, lawyers. It has been cancelled for the time being, but there is no doubt that AI is going to dominate these fields of work in the very near future, due to its sharp and calculated manner and ability to explore all avenues and calculate all possible solutions in seconds. What would take a person hours to process will only take seconds. Although we aren't seeing this AI take over yet, let me lay out a scenario for you. The US dollar begins to fail more than two is already. Companies begin to cut costs, leading to mass unemployment, as we have seen many a time before in many industries. For example, Elon Musk, when buying Twitter, to replace his staff, companies use AI tools to replace them. Eventually, they realize they work just as well, if not better, and cost a fraction of the value to employ. From there, AI takes the human place. It is hard to imagine quite yet, but very soon, AI will be the modern equivalent of how COVID-19 introduced remote working to many companies in order to have costs cut. On to the next point, which is very simple. If people begin to spend less money on things they don't need, then the growth of the economy will grind to a halt. If these two things happen hand in hand, it is an exponential race to the bottom. But how will this happen in the first place? If consumers' confidence begin to decrease amongst a population, meaning their confidence on the future of their currency, then they are going to be more conservative with their money, preparing for the worst case to come. You can liken this to a decrease in business investment, just as we have explained on a smaller scale, consumer confidence to buy items. We can look at this on a larger scale concerning investment. Threats of events such as a recession make people much more risk-averse to invest in money. Therefore, they won't want to be investing in any big projects, companies, or stocks. Whichever way you look at it, the very simple way to understand it is that the growth of all markets will be depleted and underfunded, leaving a lot of big markets subject to the recession. What we need to understand is that markets and trading in general makes up the economy, and without it, growth will be halted. Earlier on in the video, I expressed that we wanted to uncover stories that the mainstream media doesn't cover. Consumer confidence is a precise reason why they don't want us to do this. If they air all of the flaws their currency has, then they would be the catalyst for their own downfall. We know that the lack of confidence is an issue, as that is what drags down the value of a currency. But what is a statistical way of measuring that this is actually the case? An inverted yield curve. This is what a yield curve looks like. I want to break down what this means in simple terms for us and the possibility of a recession. Yield is how much money the person loaning you money gets in interest. Maturity is how long that deal lasts. In a steady economy, the curve looks more like this. This shows simply that the longer you need to borrow money for, the more you will pay back in interest. As for the person risking their money in the loan, the longer the money is gone, the bigger the interest will be as compensation for that risk. So what happens to this logic when we see the economy operating on more of an inverted yield curve? People value less money more. They don't want to risk it. That means to borrow is gonna cost you a lot more. And since people are more worried about the short term than the long term, they want a higher repayment in shorter time frames. And those that can afford to loan money out for extended periods can't afford to wait to yield their interest. All of these factors are developing in real time. Many professionals have pointed it out, and it isn't going to be the first or last time you hear anything about a recession in 2023. Now that we have covered all of our main indicators, it is important to note that these are just what we see right now, and not what is to come. Many stories are unfolding by the day which add to this monumentally. That's why you should follow our channel closely, as we keep on top of all of this news in our shorts content. Knowing where the world is going is important to all of us as humanity, and being prepared for what's to come may be more important than ever. You need to keep on your grind and make sure you're putting yourself in the best position possible for when the implications of the recession hits. If you let yourself go under with the rest of the economy, please understand that the rest of your life may very well be stuck at the bottom, fighting for the bare minimum to get by. We are no financial advisors, as we said before, and we would have just about as much of an idea on how to prepare as you would. But talking about these possibilities will at least give you a chance to prepare some sort of a plan in order to live, and live healthily through the hardships to come. We hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, let us know your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell notification in order not to miss any future videos. And most importantly, buckle up for the rest of 2023.